What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Thank you for watching. Today we have the new Premier Body Armor Fortis Helmet Part 2. And by the way, it is absolutely freezing out here today, like negative temperatures, which is why I'm wearing the balaclava. You did not click on an old administrative results video. I just have to cover my face. If I don't, it freezes in a matter of seconds, and then I'm not really able to talk, so we'll get through it the best we can. Now, if you missed our first video on the Premier Fortis helmet, I highly recommend you go back and watch it. It is genuinely one of my favorite products we've ever tested on this channel. And under that video, one of the main comments we got were people requesting different colors, green and FDE obviously being the two most common. Well, Premier Body Armor has listened, because now available on their website is the Fortis helmet in all three colors: black, green, and FDE. And I gotta say, out of the three, this FDE is definitely my favorite. It's a very good looking helmet. And they also made a couple design changes to the helmet as well. The main one I noticed is right there on the bottom where it protects the back of your head. So the black one is a first generation Fortis helmet, and these are the second generation. And you can see how this one has a little bit of an arch and this one does not. So I don't know why they did it, but I assume that this one would be more protective of the brainstem area because it's obviously not as exposed as it was with this one. Now, I went over all the details in the first video, so I'll try and keep this brief, but this helmet is definitely loaded with features. It has removable pads on the inside, so you can replace them, swap them, rearrange them, just basically set it up so that it fits you perfectly. It's also covered in Velcro all the way around the outside, so you can put patches, name tags, stuff like that. And of course, it will accommodate pretty much all accessories you would need on a tactical helmet like this: nods, ear pro, goggles, etc. It is level 3A, so it will stop most handguns and some smaller long guns. It will not stop ARs and AKs and stuff like that. That is a different kind of helmet. But we proved in the last video how bulletproof the first generation was. So I'm very excited to see what this one can stop. Let's light this thing up. All right, guys, once again, we are gonna use Ballistic Bob as our testing subject for this video. You can see how well that helmet fits Bob. This is definitely his size. I will say he's starting to look in pretty bad shape out here. It's been a rough year on Bob, to put it mildly, but he's always a good sport and he doesn't mind the occasional bullet to the face. Now, I actually ordered some ballistic dummies, but they're not here yet, and I really wanted to film this video, so Bob's gonna have to do. I'll still take the helmet off after each round and show you guys the back face deformation and stuff like that. So let's get started. Now, one thing I did not discuss in the beginning is the price. So right now on Premier's website, the Fortis helmet is listed at $549, which, if you know anything about the tactical helmet world, that's a very good price for a bulletproof helmet like this. So I will put a link down below. If you're interested, you can click that link and check them out for yourself. We're gonna skip the 22 and the 380. We already learned in the first video that this helmet will easily stop those two calibers. So first up, we're gonna shoot the 9mm, and this is a very interesting pistol. So this is the IWI Jericho 941, also commonly referred to as the Baby Desert Eagle. And it does look just like a miniature Desert Eagle. Never shot one of these before. Let's try it out. Feels sweet. All right, let's put one on that helmet. And there's our entrance hole from the 9mm Jericho. Go ahead and take it off. It's gonna be very difficult for me to show you guys the inside of this thing. Hopefully you can see in there, there's really no damage to the padding at all, which is a good sign. Go ahead and yank those out. And that is the back face deformation from the 9mm. I would say it's probably a 1/2 inch bulge on the inside of that helmet. And again, not even any damage to the padding. And if you're gonna get shot with a handgun caliber, there's a very high likelihood it would be a 9mm. They're extremely common. So it easily stopped that one. Let's step it up. All right, guys, I am warming up in the truck for a minute, and before we go any further, I wanna tell you all about Renewal Rain. So Renewal Rain is a delicious mineral water drink that spiritually renews the mind and body by reminding you to focus on your relationship with God. Very few companies these days promote this kind of message, which is why I am so excited to work with Renewal Rain. This channel is obviously centered around the Second Amendment, freedom, and individual liberty, and the message behind Renewal Rain is a drink that's all about embracing the freedom and rejuvenation that's achieved through the Word of God. Life is a journey that's full of obstacles. We train hard, we push our limits, and at the end of the day, we all need to be physically and spiritually renewed. So head over to renewalrain.com and try it for yourself. That's renewalrain.com. Support a company who puts faith first and rejuvenate yourself in the process. All right, we are skipping the 40 and the 45. We shot both of those in the last video. Next up, we got the 10 millimeter. This is a 170 grain hollow point, and we're shooting it out of the Glock 20. Straight to the hand cannons today, boys. Haven't shot this one in a while. Well, I tell you what, the sound of a 10 millimeter is a lot different than a 9 millimeter. Thing sounded like a cannon. Okay, that one knocked the helmet off of Ballistic Bob, so that's one difference from the 9 millimeter. And that is our entrance hole from the 10 millimeter. Surprisingly, none of our straps or plastic attachments have broke yet. And that is the deformation from the 10 millimeter. Not much different than the 9 mil, honestly. Sorry. Go ahead and take that out so you guys can see it. Again, that's the 9 millimeter over there, and that is the 10 millimeter right there. They honestly have a similar bulge. And next up, we're going straight to the 12 gauge shotgun. I believe in the last video we shot double-up buckshot, so this time we're gonna shoot a 1 ounce slug. This thing's going 1,300 feet per second, I believe. Definitely a tougher test than double-up buckshot, I would imagine. Haven't fired this shockwave in like a year and a half. Hopefully it's still zeroed. And I really hate shooting these things. Now that was a forceful ejection of the helmet. It's like 10 feet behind him. Yeah, I don't remember the double-up buckshot ejecting it quite like that. This thing just got launched off of Ballistic Bob. Let's bring it out here to the sunlight. We definitely got some deformation in there. You can see the pads are a little bit out of place. Take that one off. And there it is. So that is a 1 ounce shotgun slug. Definitely gave it a good bulge on the inside. But honestly, with the pads in there, it was not as much damage as I was expecting to see. And by the way, there's the entrance hole from the 12 gauge slug. I don't think I showed you guys that. Just a massive crater in the top of that helmet. Our slug is somewhere inside that thing, which is kind of crazy. Now, of course, the main question you always get when you do these tests is, okay, it stopped it, but would you actually survive the impact? And there's no way to really answer that question. Obviously, the 12 gauge slug is a massive, heavy projectile with a ton of energy behind it. It would not feel good. None of these would feel good, honestly. But I will say, I was surprised at how little deformation there was. I was expecting more damage, and our padding is still in perfect condition. No holes, no tears, no damage, no nothing. So all I can say is the helmet stopped the projectile, and I would rather have the helmet than not if I was getting shot with a 12 gauge slug. So it did its job. All right, we have finally arrived at the 44 Magnum. This is a 240 grain hollow point, and this is the biggest caliber this helmet is rated for. So 44 Magnum, let's see if it stops it. Well, it went flying. That's usually a pretty good sign. Let's go check it out. And that is our entrance hole from the 44 Magnum right there. It was more of a higher glancing shot than I wanted, but honestly, if you're getting shot with a helmet, that's probably how most of the bullets are gonna hit you anyway. I did see something fly off the back. I'm not sure if it was a bullet fragment that was inside the helmet or maybe some snow that was on the back of it, but either way, If we flip this thing over, you can see, hopefully, where the 44 Magnum hit it, right there in the middle of the helmet. And nothing came through. It looks like it easily stopped that one. Now, normally I would shoot the 44 Magnum again just to be sure, but we already know it stops that caliber, and I got some bigger ones that we're gonna try. So next up, we have the Desert Eagle 50 AE. Get ready for a fireball. Really gonna try to put this one in the middle. When you shoot a hand cannon like this, it is so difficult to just slowly squeeze the trigger. Everything in your body is telling you to just jerk it and brace for the recoil. Okay, it got ejected all the way back here after the 50 AE. And that is our entrance hole. Dead center, right on the Premier logo. Probably only an inch from the bottom of this thing. So a little bit lower than I wanted, which is pretty common with the 50 AE because I flinched like a sissy. And it's kind of hard to see because the strap's in the way, but there it is. 100% without a doubt, it stopped that 50 AE. Hopefully you can see the deformation back there. You would definitely feel it, probably have a headache for a couple days, but it did stop that massive bullet. That's pretty cool. And I'm still not really sure if the 50 AE is more powerful than the 44 Magnum. I think the 44 Magnum actually is going a little bit faster, but the 50 AE has more recoil, it's a bigger bullet, it's a heavier bullet, and I think it usually hits targets quite a bit harder, so that's pretty impressive. All right, guys, this helmet has stopped everything we've thrown at it, plus all the calibers that we shot in the first video as well, and we have finally arrived at the wrist breaker of all wrist breakers. The final caliber we're gonna shoot, this is the 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum revolver, and the bullet we're shooting is a massive 400 grain hollow point. I don't know what to expect out of this one, to be honest. All I know is this thing is a hand cannon. So let's see what it does. I think that fireball might have been bigger than the Desert Eagle. Wow. Well, I think I put that one a little closer to the Desert Eagle than I wanted to. I was trying to put it like more over here where it hadn't been hit. And that's like an inch above the 50 AE. So those are two just massive handgun rounds right next to each other in the back of this helmet. Let's flip it over. I think, get that foam padding out of there. It stopped it. That is amazing, dude. Look at the bulge on the inside of that helmet. That's like a baseball inside that thing. But it stopped it. And it stopped the Desert Eagle right before that. So this is our pad that was on the back of the helmet. Shockingly, there is no damage to any of these pads. It looks like that is probably where the bullet hit. And you can see where some of that Velcro came off and stuck to the pad. But man, I think those things would be very effective when you got it to calibers like this. Now, just to be clear, I am not saying you would survive a 500 Magnum to the back of the head, even if you were wearing that helmet. It would definitely be the worst day of your life, for sure. But it did stop the projectile, and that's really all you can ask when you're shooting two 50 caliber hand cannon rounds pretty much in the same hole at 5 yards away. because those are not easy rounds to stop. All right, guys, there you have it. It appears that the new and improved version of the Premier Fortis helmet is every bit as bulletproof as the first one. And we actually hit this one with some much bigger calibers today. So I know for a fact we didn't hit the first one with a 500 Magnum, and this one just absolutely took it like a champ. Yeah, I love this thing. So again, if you guys are interested, I will put a link down in the description box below and you can go check them out for yourself. The more you buy, the more they send me stuff to make videos with, and it's just a win-win situation for everybody. So I'm a fan. I'm trying to get every color they make so I can have one for the whole family, and that kind of speaks for itself. I definitely trust this helmet with my life. So hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, let me know down in the comments below. As always, hit that like button for me, guys. I would really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Dude, there's a massive eagle in that tree. Or an owl. That thing is a monster. Wow. I've never seen that kind of bird out here. I've seen bald eagles and everything. I've never seen that. It almost looks like a golden eagle. Wonder what it'll do when I shoot this freaking monstrosity of a handgun. I'm not sure what it is. Oh, there it goes. Look at that thing. If any of y'all know what that is, let me know in the comments. Unfortunately, I don't have a long lens on this camera. I'll try to crop in, but it's probably not gonna look great. There he goes. Dang, that's a big bird, dude. All right, I'm done harassing him.